Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, several other outlets. But I am here today on Rumor and Innuendo. It's a Thursday, and I am with Robert Karpelis, WD Creative _ish. Man, Robert, what a dynamite we got to talk about today, huh?
Can't wait to talk about the Dynamite.
The Dynamite.
But first and foremost, happy 39th birthday to Mr. Drew McIntyre.
Oh, happy birthday, Drew. Man, what a way to ring in the birthday by challenging, what's his name? Damian Priest for the
challenging, what's his name?
Clash of the Castle. Can't wait.
I don't want to compare friendships. Drew told me it was his birthday. You kayfabe the hell out of it. So this is where we're at.
I don't like to flaunt my birthday. Well, I don't have a problem with my age whatsoever. I just don't like, hey, it's my birthday, and then expecting people to wish me a happy birthday. Is that weird?
Dom, maybe we should take this time to talk about why you reject love.
I have a therapist.
Why you need to let people in. Much like Bray Wyatt, you need to let us in.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of folks we're letting in, we've got some folks joining us live in the chat. Antonio Santos says, happy Thursday. Let's sit under the learning tree that is Rumor and Innuendo. No NDAs needed. Joseph Wade Walters says, morning, my dudes.
Hey, guys.
Travis Wadlow says, hey, my favorite people. And Alt Jake says, morning, gang. And Dom is being extra creepy. I don't know what's going on here today. I blame the tank tops. I think they're getting to your brain.
You think they're getting to me? I think it's the coffee too, and I think it's because I almost sprinted here to get here on time. So,
whereas I just spent the last 2 hours working stiff with Dan St. Germain and Scott Chaplin, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. That's going to be dropping at some point soon.
You want it today, Robert?
Yeah, put it up later on today. We had a good episode. We did our the Mount Rushmore of Carnies, which wound up being a really fun conversation. Then we talked a little Raw and Dynamite, but we're going to talk a lot of Dynamite here today, Dom, because that is what we do here. That is our bread and our butter on Rumor and Innuendo.
That's correct. And
if you want your bread, butter, no, I'm kidding. I'm not too early. It's too early, guys.
Too early. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will get there. By the way, saying a quick hi to the guy who arrived a little late to the show today, Christopher Zanto. Said, hey, thanks, guys. So always good to see him. We're happy to have all of our Rumor Indians.
Yes,
Rumor Indians. That sounded like Rumor Indians, which does not sound. Let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Hey, but let's do AEW Dynamite. The Dynamite. MJF kicked it off, returning to television for the first time since at World's End, and he cut an opening promo. And then he was interrupted by Roosh, of all people. And we have a little conflict going on. What did you think of that opening segment, Robert?
So far be it from me to ever say anything disparaging about MJF. I think MJF is incredible. MJF is a true talent. And as we talked about yesterday, when he's on, he feels like he's operating on a different level. This felt like he was doing a lot of different things all at once, and it didn't come across as wholly satisfying. We thought it was strange that Max didn't appear on Dynamite last week. So we got this moment here. We talked about yesterday what we thought this should have been. This idea of reasserting that I am the best in the world and I want to be AEW World Champion. He kind of did that, but in a very circuitous way. He was promoting his merch, which felt a little like The Rock, and talking about, hey, we're in Colorado and we're going to kiss up to the hometown and talk about smoking weed because we're, edgy, bruh. Then he took shots at some of the guys on the roster in a way that didn't help anybody. So he pointed out that Okada needs to go to a gym because he's looking a little soft, which is true in their world, in a body guy business. You look at Kazuchika Okada and you go, well, he doesn't have the abs that you would see on a Finn Balor. And you're always going to want to compare.
No, it's not bad.
No, of course not. But, that's what we're going after. Going after Swerve for not being able to cut a promo and for being an idiot and when his stable turned on him. And then going after Ospreay and pointing out that Ospreay is not the best. So Max is going to recite all the people he beat, which is fine. Except you're also name dropping Cody Rhodes. So it's like, oh, We're talking about other companies. We're shooting, brother. We're getting, closer and closer to making this a pipe bomb. And then Roosh comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Super random. I know that Roosh was on last week, but it's like, why? And even Max at one point tried to be like, I don't know why you're here. Oh, yeah, I hired you to be an assassin. I didn't remember that, but
No, I did after the fact. After the fact, I did remember. But
then it was this very strange promo where he was tearing down Roosh, then trying to build him back up to make him seem like a formidable opponent. And I'll be honest, I kept thinking at some point Max was going to say, like, look, you're a big star. You're not as big a star as your brother, who's over on Raw. That's kind of where I thought that was going. I thought he was going to bring up the Dragon Lee thing, and he didn't. But he did a little bit of what we said, which was reassert that you want to be champion and you're going to prove you're the best. Nobody thinks that the Roosh match is anything other than a first tune-up. I don't think we're going to even remotely pretend that it is a serious threat, a serious feud. It's just they're stuck with this very silly pay-per-view, Forbidden Door, which has outlived its usefulness.
100% it has. And looking at the matches that got announced already, it's just like, oh, all right. I know one half of the card, side of the card, and I don't know the other half that well. And then on top of it, though, like MJF was wearing a lot of hats in that opening promo. He was, talking, selling merch. Then on top of it, yes, he was talking about what he wants to do, his stakes, and then taking insults at people. But here, he almost had the unnecessary obligation to build Roosh up and introduce him to the AEW audience, because AEW hasn't done that for him.
What was so even weirder was you had Roosh that's sitting there. It's like, well, you were home. I have been here working.
Have you?
Where? Roosh hasn't been on television. If there was a guy that
I love
give
Roosh,
me a guy week in and week out, but like, yeah, it was weird.
It was weird, and it's just like, okay, like we should have been acclimated with who Roosh is at this point, and he should have been this credible, growing, rising star that is going to threaten whoever it may be, whether it's an MJF or a top of the card person, a Swerve Strickland. He should be in that mix, and then you all automatically have him here. You don't need freaking MJF to have half his promo provide some context of who this guy is that we should already be well known for. I thought that aspect of it was frustrating. I did think MJF's opening promo in regards to it's just he was trying to hit a lot of highlights that didn't necessarily need it. It wasn't needed there, and I think taking the digs doesn't help the product a little bit. And then, but once he had that exchange with Roosh, I thought it started to pick up again. And I was more engaged at that aspect than I was when it came to what he was saying at first.
It was, but it turned into standard wrestling angle.
Mm-hmm,
and
sure.
There's a comment here from Big Red Andrew H who says Roosh is beneath MJF, which is true. It's like Roosh would have been a guy that he comes out there, he challenges MJF. MJF's like, you know what, we're going to fight right here, right now. And then MJF beats him clean in the middle of the ring on free TV as his first match back. It doesn't feel like a pay-per-view style opponent. And we've seen where they gave away, that Sky Blue Mercedes Moné feud. We saw a month's worth of feud in an hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of where it feels like a guy like Roosh should be at. But then it's like, well, who do you have MJF face at Forbidden Door?
Yeah, who does fits that formula that you're shoehorned into now at this point, where it's just like, it's a frustrating concept at this juncture, where at a time where AEW doesn't need that. They need their best matches going on there with their top stars. And you're having people that a lot of the American audience is not familiar with. So that's an issue. Did you take issue too with Swerve Strickland versus Roderick Strong? What did you think of that there, Robert?
That was another one that was mighty random.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just because, why am I watching a one-on-one match for the title in a company that has eliminator matches and has rankings and has tournaments? I don't know. And even weirder, with this was this notion, this idea that it's in the main event, so clearly something's going to happen.
Right.
And nothing happened. Swerve beat Roderick Strong clean. And I get if you want to have your champion beat somebody clean and feel, more important, but no one takes Roderick Strong seriously.
No.
And there was no post-match anything. Obviously, Ospreay not there. He said he was taking the week off as a sabbatical. But it was weird that Wardlow wasn't there. I thought maybe after the match Wardlow was going to attack. None of it.
They tried to build Roderick earlier in the evening with that video vignette that they did, but that also felt forced, heavy-handed a little bit, I think, where it's just like, hey, we've been looking at Roderick Strong as almost like this comedic character for how many months? Then he goes into a feud with Ospreay, credible, but it's just like, it seems like you're really speeding up the process of trying to make him feel credible where he doesn't, unfortunately. And it's short-term stuff, and this just all got developed over the course of last Saturday on Collision. It's just head scratching. So
it was a match that happened. It just felt very much like a match that happened. It did not in any way, shape, or form really help anybody. I mean, Roderick Strong lost clean despite his guys being out there, and Swerve beat a guy that he absolutely should have beaten, who was below him, in a title match that wasn't truly earned and made Tony Khan look like he was undercutting Christopher Daniels, who he just put in position of an authority figure.
Exactly.
So you accomplished literally nothing in this match other than, hey, here's a good match on TV, which they have proven they can do. Almost every match on this show last night, Dom, was a good match.
Yeah.
You got a lot of entertaining wrestling, but again, what's the story we're telling? What's making sense? What's hooking me in further? It would be like if you took Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio on Raw, which is a very strong match. But it'd be like if you had, Damian Priest go one-on-one with, Baron Corbin or something like that.
Right. Yeah. No, the matches were good. And I will say I really liked the opening match, too, with Mark Briscoe, Rey Fenix, Jay Lethal, and who else was in that match, the opening match? Oh, Orange Cassidy. And, we got Rey Fenix as the winner there. I think so. He's going to be challenging Will Ospreay, which I think could be a very good match for Forbidden Door if you wanted. But it's happening next week on Dynamite, Robert. So I don't know. What do you think of that aspect too?
So you had a 4-way match for the number one contendership for the international title.
Yes.
With Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Jay Lethal, Rey Fenix.
Kyle O'Reilly, thank you too.
Yeah. Yet you have a tournament going on right now for the TNT title.
Yes.
Which is vacant. So I thought this was a 4-way match for a qualifying spot for that. It wasn't. But then in the same show, you had a video package, which was a very strong video package for Danny Garcia, telling his story, his recovery from his accident, and made him feel like a guy. And then he's talking about how he wants to face Will Ospreay for the international title, who's about to face Rey Fenix. What am I supposed to be caring about? You only have so much capacity to really pay attention and know who you need to care about. And I think it was Scott Chaplin that pointed this out. It's even weirder that you had Orange Cassidy in this match, and you didn't have him win to set up an Orange Cassidy Will Ospreay match next week, which would have furthered the Don Callis family storyline.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
So it was a great 4-way match that kind of doesn't mean anything to get you to a Rey Fenix Ospreay match next week. That'll be a great match that probably won't mean anything. And it's another Ospreay babyface match.
And it's a throwaway match. It's not fair to Rey Fenix. Like, we've talked about this before, as like early stars in AEW. 2 of them were the Lucha Brothers, and what got people amped up for that promotion. And here, he's just going to be an afterthought in this whole grand scheme of things. A stepping stone for Will Ospreay to get to probably Daniel Garcia. And I don't know.
But even the international title is a stepping stone because he's caring about the world title.
Right.
Again, it's very frustrating and challenging sometimes when you try to make sense of what's going on in the television show, and you want to just turn your brain off sometimes and just watch.
Yeah.
And I think that the fans that enjoy Dynamite the most are the people who go, I'm going to get great matches, and I'm just going to ignore everything storyline wise. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Right.
But that's not a way to get longevity. And then it's a very small percentage of people. There's people who watch wrestling because they just want to see the in-ring product, and that's fine. But at the same time, there's people who want to be hooked in and care about the wrestlers, care about the matches, care about the stories.
Right. I think that, and that's the majority of people. Like, that's why people watch pro wrestling.
Yes.
The athleticism is a backdrop to everything else that you want. And I don't know, AEW, this episode in particular, I think has kind of been a little bit of a microcosm of what we're seeing. We're seeing great matches, the product awesome, the wrestling product, but just a lot of, holes in what they're doing here. Somebody that was compelling though was Willow Nightingale in her promo.
I was just going to say, but Willow Nightingale, her promo was an excellent promo. It was a great babyface promo of, I'm going to recap everything that Chris Statlander has done to me. I'm going to concede that I lost to Mercedes Moné. I'm going to move on, but I'm coming for revenge. And yes, I smile, and yes, I'm happy, and all of this. But I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for blood. And I was like, wow, that is a fiery babyface promo. That's what you want from your company. We had that Blackpool Combat Club versus CMLL match, which was a fun 8-man tag. It was a great way to reintroduce Wheeler Yuta and let him get a win. But the real story, Dom, the real thing that came out of that was the Bryan Danielson promo a little later in the show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where he staked his claim for the Owen Hart Cup. It's I like that. I like that aspect. That makes the Owen Hart tournament feel much more important with Danielson in it. But yeah, and I think, but we were talking about that too. It seems like who is going to go into that cup and there's so many qualifying stuff going on, right? I mean,
there's a lot of qualifying matches, a lot of tournaments to pay attention to. There's the qualifying matches for the TNT title. There was a 4-way match to determine the international champion, #1 contender. There's going to be an Owen Hart tournament coming up to determine who's going to challenge for the title at All In. And I want to drill down on that for a second, because I really feel like all of what we've seen now with the booking is starting to make sense in a way that is not very good for Swerve.
Okay. Explain.
The Ospreay match being booked for Forbidden Door surprised the hell out of me, because it felt like you want to have Will Ospreay win his title, his first world title in AEW, in front of his home country in a big packed stadium. Instead, you're going to have him win it at Forbidden Door, which means that he's going to be champion going into All In. And if you have Bryan Danielson calling his shot and saying, I got to win the Owen Hart tournament to get this match at All In, to as my career is winding down, this could be my last chance. So Danielson Ospreay suddenly becomes the sexiest option available to them, which again is a babyface match where the audience is not going to know who they want to cheer for. Do you want to cheer for the hometown guy in Will Ospreay, or the guy who's got one last opportunity in his career before he hangs it up full time, and Bryan Danielson?
I think, though, they would still have been stuck in that hard place if, for example, they did win Swerve and Ospreay too, though, because both are very over.
Yes, but if you were starting to lose faith in Swerve as a babyface, you could turn Swerve again. As much as I hate doing quick turns,
it happens so much, often already. I don't know if that would even be good for him too.
I think they put him in a position where it's a no-win situation. He feels like a lame duck champion. He's a guy who doesn't get to cut the opening promo. He's not the guy involved in the main storyline. He's just sort of a guy.
And I said this before. If you're Tony Khan, you want to put confidence in your rising stars and have faith in what they're doing and in the product. And by doing this to Swerve and some of your other stars, that gets a Rush is another example where it's just like not the focus. A Wardlow's another example. You go on and on and on. You're losing your goodwill with your talent. And
Dom,
there's no.
if you want goodwill and you want to have faith in your rising star,
Oh,
can we recommend our friends at Blue Chew?
yes.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Visit BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Guys, if you want to open her forbidden door and be all in, Blue Chew can help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo.
I don't know how you do it, Robert. That's some high quality shilling right there.
That is high quality shilling. It's the kind of intrusion that you don't mind. The intrusion that I did mind during Dynamite.
Yes.
Mr. Christopher Jericho.
You didn't like that, guys? No?
Surprisingly not. So I mentioned this on Working Stiff, and it's funny because Christopher Reed has this here in his comment. Jericho with 4 seconds. Jericho went full Eugene.
Yeah, he did.
It was this insufferable, dad jokey, like lobotomized, goofy, not Firefly Funhouse, but still trying to be patronizing and absolutely grating. And it gets you literally nothing. This is not a top tier storyline. This is not a main event story. This is, please take it off of my television. There's a way that you could do this where this is funnier or this is more entertaining or more engaging. It's just, it's like watching that movie Unfrosted. I'm a huge Seinfeld mark.
Yeah.
And that movie was just like, I could see the idea being funny, but no. But this whole like, hey, Dom, I love that you dress like that on here when you're trying to be taken seriously, buddy. Maybe you want to consider putting on a shirt, a tie, a jacket, dressed like you're a real journalist, and people are going to treat you with the respect that you deserve as a journalist. Okay, pal, thanks. Every flipping segment, almost got us in trouble there.
Ooh.
This helps nobody. Hey, private party, you should be public. Oh my God. It doesn't make me want to pay to see the character get beat up, which is what you want from a heel. It makes me want to change the channel and never watch this again. Yes. But I have to, because we're here to talk about it on Rumor and Innuendo.
Look, and I've been a proponent for kind of what this thing is. I was cautiously optimistic, and Jericho turned it up to 11 on this where it didn't need to be turned up to 11. If you kind of played low-keyed it a little bit and like was still kind of having that like patronizing aspect, I could buy into it a little bit more. But this goes into the realm of unbelievability, and then it disconnects you with him wanting to getting a comeuppance and stuff like that. I'm kind of with you on this, Robert. I was going into this, but it's just a little over the top. It's way over the top.
By the way, it's also, again, literally what Matt Jackson is doing.
It is. And like, but I don't have a problem with Jericho doing it because I think Jericho's pretty good at it. But I don't think he's seeing it that it's too much right now. And it's not helping anybody. I liked Brian Keith, though. I really like Brian Keith.
Big Apple. Like Brian Keith. Yes, but now Brian Keith is being played as a joke.
Yeah.
He's like Scrappy Doo.
Yeah,
like that's his whole character. How dare you give me the respect? Give me the respect. Put him up. Like it's so goofy. It's such clown shoes. It's terrible. What was also frustrating, the Bucks, who are leaning into this, hey, we're EVP so we can mess with people's segments, which I don't mind forming alliances with Christian, even though they're not going to fulfill it. But the one thing that they did that just was like bamboo shoots under my fingernails
Oh, God.
was when they told the Acclaim, you can't use that kind of language. Have you not read the AEW handbook? And longtime listeners on this show will remember when we had Stephen P. New on, the attorney for CM Punk,
Yes.
and Ace
Jim
Steel,
Cornette.
and Jim Cornette was talking about the root of his lawsuits and the whole thing about Jericho saying, I've never signed an NDA, and him pointing to the fact that there was an AEW handbook and him saying, I've never signed a handbook and there is no handbook and da-da-da-da-da. And then the Bucks referenced the handbook on TV just to wink, just at you guys, just at the Rumor and Innuendo audience, is so niche and so weird. Like, you're really just trying to like poke at the internet community, which is a fraction of the audience that you need to be caring about, and reminding people of all of the baggage and all the BS that they've gone through. You don't need to do it.
No.
It's just, it's a very weird decision. Leave it alone. They you know what they need? They really need somebody in the back who knows what the hell he's doing to like just take control of this thing.
Well, they do have somebody, Robert. It's funny you mentioned that. Yes. Bryan Danielson, the aforementioned Bryan Danielson, on the Hall show. He
The
actually,
whole show?
the Hall, like Brett Hall, the hockey player.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Thank you for bringing up hockey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love hockey. Hey, your Florida Panthers there.
No.
Go
We
Panthers.
don't talk about. I hate you.
Go Panthers.
I
Well, Danielson does want to talk about helping people. And he says there's nothing better than helping somebody, and they go out there and they do something awesome and seeing how happy they are when they come back, and it's an amazing match or an amazing promo. They come back, they see the fire in their eyes. Yeah, that's it. That's where it's at for me now. I still love going out and wrestling. There's a certain joy that can't be replaced anywhere else. Now, what really inspires me, or what I shoot for, is how I make AEW better. How can I contribute to AEW and contribute to the younger stars that we have and help make them better, or help them get to where they want to be? Wrestling can't be taught, but it can be learned. Giving them the tools that they can learn how to do this thing that they love to do. So, Robert, I think Bryan Danielson is an invaluable asset to AEW. How can he help AEW better? Make it better?
By going to WWE and working at the Performance Center.
Does that help AEW though?
He is built for that. He's built for that world. He is built to be a guy who can train the next generation, who can show them the matches, the promos, the angles, make them think better and smarter. The problem with AEW, and we say this a lot, they do not have a developmental system. With all the resources and funding they have, they don't have a PC. They have the Nightmare Factory that they should be using. Partner with QT Marshall, send your young guys up there and train them and make them go there and live in Atlanta and live and breathe it like what WWE does with the folks in Orlando. I think Bryan is the perfect guy to do that, but he doesn't have the opportunity to do so. And you can coach up the individual guys. We've seen the individual matches are very strong, but when you're not the decision maker, when you're not the guy at the top, it's very, very tough. Like you're training soldiers to go out and fight a war, and then they're giving you Nerf guns.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense that you have these guys and you're not using them to their fullest capacity. I think eventually Bryan's going to get frustrated and realize I can settle down in Orlando with Sean and we can build the next generation of talent. And if AEW is not going to give him that opportunity, WWE absolutely will. And the opportunity that you can give yourselves is hearing more Dominic D'Angelo in your lives.
Hey, that's right, Robert. Yeah, you can see me live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on RVDTV.com.
It's past my bedtime.
Me and Rob are going live. We're going to film the next episode of One of a Kind with RVD, and we'll take your questions. So chime on in and support us there. You can also check me out live today at 6:15 Eastern Standard Time with Greg Gagne and Magnum TA. Straight talk with the boss, and we're going to cover some good stuff. I have a topic on tap for it, Andre the Giant, but we'll see if we'll get to it because I've a lot of the people in the chat direct the conversation. So we'll see where it goes. But tune in tonight. You can go to onetruesport.com for that, onetruesporttv.com. Robert, we
What?
mentioned we recorded Working Stiff.
Yes.
Great episode. I can't wait to get that launched for you.
Yeah, that'll be up. It'll give you a chance to hear my Stu Hart impression. So that's that'll be fun.
The best.
Yes, it's what a great talent in life to be able to have a Stu Hart impression. Boy, that is just invaluable in my day-to-day life. But yeah, no, the Working Stiff was a hell of a lot of fun. This was a hell of a lot of fun, and we encourage you to join us here every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. For Rumor and Innuendo, you can catch us on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ish X account, the Dominic D'Angelo X account, the Working Stiff X account, the SE Scoops X account, the Podcast Heat X account. Podcast Heat is who makes this show possible, as well as on YouTube. Rumor and Innuendo, Working Stiff, and ad-free shows. And if you think this is all I have to say about Mr. Jeff Jarrett, tune into Working Stiff. You'll get a little extra Jarrett-related content. But until then, on behalf of the tank top undefeated champion Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Hey, you got to dress the